We're getting a clearer picture of who donated money to support the protests that blockaded Parliament Hill for much of last month. The CBC News investigation has been looking into millions of dollars raised in crowdfunding campaigns to support the protests that clogged downtown Ottawa for almost a month before police cleared the blockade that began 2 weeks ago. So much has transpired in the world since. But 2 weeks ago, as we were focused on these scenes, Elizabeth Thompson is part of the CBC News investigative team doing that analysis. And she is live in Ottawa this morning with details of what the investigation has uncovered. Elizabeth.
Hi, Heather. I think a lot of Canadians were quite surprised when all of a sudden millions of dollars started rolling in on crowdfunding platforms to support the truckers' convoy. And they were even more surprised, perhaps, when one of those sites, the Give, Send, Go site, was illegally hacked and the hackers made the information public as to who the donors were. And we discovered that half of the donors to that particular fundraiser were coming from the United States. Now, what we did is we took a closer look at 200 of the top donors to that fundraising campaign, and we looked them up in the Federal Elections Commission database in the United States to see if they had contributed to other political parties or movements before. What we found is that half of those donors had contributed to either the Republican Party or former President Donald Trump, and actually half of the Republican donors had also contributed to former President Trump or one that support him. Very few, in fact, about 3% actually donated to the Democratic Party or any of its candidates. Now, one of those donors agreed to talk with us. He is from New Hampshire. His name is Roy Bettel, and he has donated to a lot of different causes in the past, everything from humanitarian relief to, yes, he donated to former President Trump. And he explains that he basically was touched by the truckers' convoy, the fact that they were standing up for something that they believed in, and so he decided to donate $1,000 to that cause. But he also is not very happy with the idea that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has raised, that people from outside of Canada should perhaps not have donated to that protest. Here's what he had to say.
Don't tell me what I get to do with my money. I earned it. I pay taxes on it. I'll spend it however I damn well please.
Now, this whole thing raises the question of whether people from outside of Canada should be allowed to donate to a Canadian political protest. Currently, our political financing rules say that if you're not a Canadian citizen and you're not a permanent resident, you can't, for example, contribute to a political candidate, you can't contribute to a political party, but the rules are silent on whether someone can donate to a political protest. I guess nobody ever thought of the idea that someone would be able to raise millions of dollars on American crowdfunding sites from people outside of Canada, as well as many Canadians as well. So when you talk to people like former U.S. Ambassador Bruce Heyman, he said that apparently there was a speech on January 29th that former President Trump gave where he praised the truckers and the convoy. And that prompted a lot of Americans, he said, to find out about the convoy and to decide to donate to it. But former Ambassador Heyman also doesn't think that Americans should be donating to a Canadian political protest. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has also expressed concerns about this, and the government will be looking at what to do about this and whether there should be some laws that would give some sort of framework for Americans who want to donate to one of our political causes or protests.
I was going to ask that. Under Canadian law right now, what are the issues that these findings raise?
Well, the issue is that there are no rules. You're basically, if you want to donate to a candidate, as I said, or a political party, you have to be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. There are also some pretty low caps on that money as well. You can't just, some of these donations that we looked at were like $90,000. The lowest of the 200 was in the $1,000 range. So this is something that a lot of Canadians would not be able to donate, like $90,000 to a candidate if they wanted to. And here we have Americans who are donating that kind of money to a protest that they agreed with. Don't know how much they're donating to the U.S. convoy protest, which is making its way to D.C. right now.
Elizabeth, thank you very much. Leading a part of that investigative team, Elizabeth Thompson from Ottawa.